my initial reaction was, I'm curious, you know, I'm always curious. I asked the doctor, I said, what kind of results have you been having from this? I said, because if you look online, it's very controversial. And this doctor, boy, you tell it pissed him off. Not at me, at just at what I've said. He said, it's not really controversial at all. If the country would look at what the rest of the world... What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome back. Did you miss me? And no, that's not clickbait. COVID about took us out. I didn't realize that a lot of you guys don't know until I was talking to one of my buddies last night, old Mr. James Hensley, and I was telling him about it, and he didn't even know, and I thought, wow, I gotta make a video. I was going to make this video back in November, but I didn't get around to it. So we're going to talk about how COVID about took me and the family out. It was it wasn't that bad to us. It was scary at times, but let's go into story time and I'll tell you what happened. Back the first week of October, I was out trucking and I came home, and that weekend, my little boy, Cash, he came home and he had about 3 days he didn't feel good. 3 days he didn't feel good, which is normal for him around this time of year. When the seasons change, allergies get to him, and he'll run a slight grade fever for a few hours, and he'll knock it off and get feeling better. So that's kind of normal. So the wife didn't think nothing of it. And that was during the weekend, and Wednesday rolled around, and she started feeling like crap. And she told me on the phone, she's like, oh God, I got the COVID, I got it. I said, nah, you're good, you're tough. You got a good immune system, you're good. Well, Thursday, she felt decent. And Friday, I'm rolling in, and I'm like, can I come home? I don't want to come home if you're going to make me sick. She said, no, I'm fine. She's like, I feel a lot better today. And this was Friday morning. It's Friday morning, so I came on in Friday. We got everything hooked up, and Saturday is when we went razor riding and had all that fun. I was burying the razor and all the mud puddles and stuff. We was having a good old day. Most of the day, Tiffany didn't feel good. She had a slight grade fever here and there, and I felt fine. Cash felt fine. Oh yeah, Cash felt bad for about 3 days. Done. Fast forward to Wednesday, Mom starts feeling bad, the wife. And Saturday we go riding. I tell you, she's tough. We ride all day, have a good time, and yeah, we come home, we wash off the razor, get up the next day, and she feels just like death. So at that point in time, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, day 5 of COVID, we go to Walgreens and get one of those COVID tests. We get it for like, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks with a pack of 3. So we went and got one at Walgreens, came back, she tested, and came back positive. And we thought, oh shit. Well, at least, you know, Cash started it. Cash about killed us. Cash started it, and it had mild symptoms for like 3 days and done. So that's true. It don't affect youngins like it does the older folks. So I went to the store. I went to Walgreens. I spent like 300 bucks on everything under the sun. Zinc tablets, vitamins, Theraflu, you name it, I bought it. And came back and we started getting our systems up. And it wasn't really helping. Tiffany had already bought a oxygen meter you clamp onto your finger. And she's keeping up with her oxygen. And at the time, I didn't even know the importance of the oxygen. And it was running mid-90s to low 90s. And that was Sunday. Monday rolls around and it just turns for the worse. The oxygen levels drop into the high 80s. She can't hardly breathe. She's taking short breaths and she can't breathe. And it's bad. It's terrifying. And I'm just getting scared because I got home Saturday, so Saturday I was exposed. So I think Monday, Tuesday is when I started feeling symptoms. So what day am I on? Monday. Yeah, Monday, it was a bad day. And we got a breathing treatment from her mom and didn't have cartridges. Trucker Style Sean, man, I gotta give you some props, man. Trucker Style Sean reached out to me. He seen what was going on YouTube or Facebook, and he overnighted and sent me some breathing treatments. Man, Muckles, man, that was a solid thing. I owe you, dude. Next time when I see you, I finally get to meet you, beer's on me. I don't care if you drink 10, they're on me. So super solid, man. I appreciate that. Well, when things really turned for the worst and I was scared to death, it was the evening. It was after dark, and I'm in the living room, and all of a sudden, well, Tiffany, she goes to take a shower, and all of a sudden I hear clack, boom, boom. So I go up, and go check on her, and she's laying in the shower, half in, half out. She passed out while she was in the shower. She can't get enough breath. And I walk in there, and she's moving. "Oh, baby, you all right? Did you just fall?" And she's like, I think so. And she's coming back too. So I help her up, I dry her off, I get her in the bed, I check her oxygen. It's mid-80s, which is bad. I didn't know at the time, but it's bad. And I told her, I said, all right, when we get up in the morning, if you don't feel better, I'm taking you to the hospital. And I'm pretty sure this is how the date transpired. Tuesday, we get up, she still feels like crap. And everybody's afraid to go to the hospital. I know I was, because what we see on the news and what we hear on the medias is people go to the hospital to die. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm not ready for this. This is my life. This is my woman. I'm not ready for this. And I'm like, well, we got to do it because she's not getting better at home. So we go to the hospital and they check her in. They check her oxygen. At this time, it's like, 82. It's bad. Oxygen level 82. First things first, they swab her, they test her right there they put her in a wheelchair. As soon as we walked in, they swabbed her, tested her. As we're checking in, another nurse brought her around the oxygen tank, gave her some oxygen. Immediately she started feeling better. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I feel better now than I have it seems like before I got sick. It really helped her out, just that, having that oxygen. And they tested her for COVID and admitted her. And here's what's strange. Here's what's really strange. By the time she goes to the hospital, she tested negative for COVID. Negative. So the COVID, this tough old bird done beat COVID. But here's what a lot of people don't understand, and I know I didn't understand it till now. COVID ain't what gets you, it's the aftermath. Right now, COVID pneumonia is what she had. And COVID pneumonia is different than regular pneumonia because the fluid settles in the back of your lungs, I think, the bottom, the back. Anyway, and therefore, they don't want you laying on your back. They want you laying prone on your belly to keep fluid from building up. So, I learned a lot of stuff during this transition. So, like, I'm going to get to me in a minute. And me, I tell you what, I swallowed my pride, but I took care of it. Anyway, day one of the hospital was bad. Day two was the worst day because nobody didn't tell her not to do this until like day 3 of her hospital visit. But she was trying to hack up what was in her lungs. Well, she was trying to cough it up, and nobody told her she shouldn't be doing that, which she shouldn't have. We was FaceTiming nearly the whole time she's in there. I'd take a break in between, using the restroom, shower, laying down, because by this time I'm sick and I got a fever, high fever. I was FaceTiming, and the scariest part of it all was when she would try to cough and hack up anything she could. Watching her struggle for her breath was one of the scariest things I've ever had to witness. And because she just would gasp for air, and she is like, is she going to get her breath? Is she going to do it? And this would take place for about 15-20 seconds. And I remained calm because I know, if I freak out, she might freak out. But I was terrified, and that's no joke. I was terrified. And she eventually told me, she said, I know this looks bad. She said, but I promise you, it looks worse than it actually is. She said, I know I can get my breath. I can get my breath. It just looks a lot worse than it actually is. So I took her at that, and she might have been lying to me because Dr. wanted to freak me out, but either way it worked. I took her word on it. That was, her second day in the hospital was the hardest thing I've ever went through. It was tough, guys, because like I said, everybody goes to the hospital to die. And the week and a half prior to this, my half-sister, her husband Johnny, passed away from COVID. Actually, it wasn't COVID. My brother was telling me that he got the antibody shot, and he's a little bitty feller, and once he got the antibody shot, he turned downhill. But this was like a week and a half prior. And a few weeks prior to that, one of my dearest friends of 20 years that I used to work with at Mohawk Industry, when I was green behind the ears at just 22 years old, they lost a son-in-law. And dude was like 30, I think 33, 31, 33. He's young. Maybe a little older. I don't know. He's young. He's younger than me. But they lost their son-in-law to COVID. And here I am with my wife in the hospital. I'm scared to death, watching her fight for her breath. And it's scary. It's scary. That was day 2. Day 3, I'm kind of calloused up. I'm used to it. And it's not as bad. But still, it was bad. Now, this time, COVID's fully kicking my ass. It's relentless. You know, if you get the flu or if you get a fever of some sort of something, usually you could take some Tylenol, some ibuprofen, and you could knock it in the bud, and it's all right. COVID is you take a little bit of ibuprofen, you knock the fever out. As soon as it's wear off, it comes right back. It's relentless, 24/7. It was relentless. So if you get COVID, don't freak out. There's a silver lining to everything I'm telling you here. I'm just telling you a lot of stuff I didn't know then, which I know now. It leads me to tell you this. Spoiler alert, even though we got the vaccine, or the, that's funny. Yeah, I need to get the damn vaccine. Even though we both had COVID, the wife spent some time in the hospital, we're still not getting a shot next year, the year after, vice versa, yada, yada, yada. No. So hang around. I promise you, this will help you, just for your knowledge. Because I didn't know any of this stuff until it happened at home. So, I don't know, the day we took her to the hospital, I was already running a fever. I started running the fever about Monday. But when I took her to the hospital, it was a slight fever and some ibuprofen, and it knocked it down. By this time, it wasn't bad. And the next day, same thing. Day after that, same thing. Day after that, same thing. Day after that, same thing. And this transpired every day. The COVID fever, for me, it was relentless. For Tiffany, it was relentless. Her fever at one time got up to like 105, I think. I know mine got up to 104, and I've had a high fever before when I was a kid. I don't want a high fever again. I know over 103 is bad. And running a slight fever when you're sick, it's good because it's your body, fighting stuff off. So as long as I've got a fever of like 100, under 101, I don't take medicine. If it gets over 101, I'm taking some medicine. COVID's a different beast. So I had to take medicine. I was taking so much, I was afraid I was going to mess up the stomach lining in my belly. That's how much I was taking. And day 4 with Tiffany in the hospital, it's a lot better. And they're saying, yeah, you might get to go home tomorrow. Because when she was in there, no, guys, I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm trying to keep a timeline here. It's hard. And a lot happened. But when she first got there, they told her, lay prone. And she did. And the nurses, even the doctor, when the doctors come in, the nurses came in, they all gave gratification to her. They said, thank you for laying on your stomach. She said, well, I didn't come here to die. I'm doing all the things. And they said, well, you'll be surprised. Nobody lays on their stomach. And she's like, well, I don't want to die. I got a family. You tell me to lay on my stomach, I'm going to lay on my stomach. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, I hate it. But I did not come here to die. So, again, I'm doing all the things. And at one point, the doctor was in there. And she had a cool doctor. And lost her breath and had to hack it up and cough. And the doctor asked her, have you been doing that? And she said, yeah. She said, has nobody told you not to do that? She said, no. She said, don't be doing that. She said, this pneumonia is different than normal pneumonia. The fluid's settled in the back of your lungs. You don't need to cough up anything unless you're getting choked. She said, so don't be doing that. So, first few days in the hospital, my wife's in there about to kill herself, hacking up, when she shouldn't have been doing it. Because she was trying to clear her throat. She was trying to get it all out. And then the doctor said, whoa, match the brakes. Don't be doing that. If you don't need to, if you're choked, cool, do it. Anyway, she quit doing that. And she told me, she said, I feel a lot better that I've quit trying to cough stuff up. She said, my oxygen's staying higher. They keep on lowering my oxygen on my tank. And everything's doing good. Short and sweet, she spent 5 days in the hospital, and I went and picked her up. And I cannot remember the dates of this. I can't remember if I gave in and went to the doctor. Now, here's my part. Here's what happened with me and whenever I got better. There's a lot of medicine that was to it, so I can't actually remember. I'd probably call her. I should have called her before I made this video, but it's not that important. Day 5, I went and picked her up. She spent 5 days in there, came home. Now, with me, I think it was on day 8, maybe day 10. I'm getting paranoid for myself because everything I'm researching online, everything says with COVID, you think you're good, and then day 8, boom, bottom drops out. Day 9, boom, the bottom drops out. Day 10, maybe 11, maybe 12. But once you think you're good, that's usually when it turns for the worse. So, like I said, I got scared. I dropped my pride. I said, my body is not fighting this. I'm going to the doctor. And I went to a doctor, and talking to this doctor, he checked everything. He said, oh, you're good. I say, what do I need to get antibodies? He said, no, you're perfectly healthy. You don't need antibodies. He said, antibodies is for older people, health issues. He said, you're perfectly healthy. I'm not going to give you antibodies. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you feeling better, and I'm going to prescribe you ivermectin and dexamethasone. May have murdered that, but ivermectin and dexamethasone. He said, I'll get you feeling better. My initial reaction was, I'm curious, I'm always curious. I asked the doctor, I said, what kind of results have you been having from this? I said, because if you look online, it's very controversial. And this doctor, boy, you tell it pissed him off. Not at me, just at what I've said. He said, it's not really controversial at all. If the country would look at what the rest of the world is doing with their trials and clinicals, with ivermectin, dexamethasone, you get it. He said, it's not controversial at all. Controversial at all. He said, this comes from a doctor. He said, the only reason we're not mainstreaming this is because there's no money. It's cheap. He said, I'm going to give you a script and you're going to fill it for less than $200. And if you got insurance, it probably is not going to cost you anything. He said, there's no money in it. Anyway, you could tell it hit a nerve. The doctor said, he said, give us about a year. He said, then you're going to see on the news and everything, people are going to say, well, we should have been doing this a long time ago. And yeah, it's probably right. He is probably right. There's no money in ivermectin and dexamethasone. So, anyway, the box I got, the tablets, there was 8 tablets per box. Each one of those boxes were like 85 or 90 bucks. I got 2 boxes, 16 tablets, and a steroid, the dexamethasone or whatever is a steroid. He told me, he said, take this and you'll get to feeling better. So I go get my prescription. Uh-oh, got a trooper on the shoulder up here. And these trucks won't let me over. Alright. Let's go. What you got, buddy? And FedEx is going to go slower. I'd have got in front of you. Just to flex my truck. Anyway, I went and got my prescription. I read it. It said take 8 tablets. What the heck? Come on, guys. We're going 55 miles an hour. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Take. Y'all bear with me here. FedEx up here is wanting to mess everything up. That people's trying to merge and get on 10. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alright. Each box had 8 tablets in it. And then there's directions on it says take 8 tablets a day. And I'm like, alright, 8 tablets a day. I don't know why I thought this, but I did. I'm going to take 1 tablet every 2 hours. That's 16 hours a day. That's 8 tablets. That's what I thought. Wrong. Anyway, I went home. I took my first tablet. And I took my steroid, the dexamethasone. I took that one. I waited 2 hours. I took another ivermectin. Waited 2 hours. Took another ivermectin. 3 pills. 3. And then I went to bed because it was like 11 or 12 at night. I kid you not, no shit. As God is my witness. The next day I woke up that morning, fever was gone. Gone. Now I still felt like shit. And this day, actually my lungs was hurt. My lungs started, I couldn't take a deep breath. I'd try and take one and it hurt. And I'm like, oh God. I'm glad I went and got this because at least now I know I'm on the meds. Because I feel better, but now my chest is hurting a little bit. So, I knew I was on the right track. The day after that, the chest pain went away, but I still feel kind of weird. I think it's from the medicine, but no COVID, not COVID, no fever, no feeling sick. I just felt kind of drained. I kind of felt a medicine head. I kind of felt just drained. I don't know how to describe it other than I felt drained. And by this time I've done went and picked Tiffany up from the hospital, and she came home, and I finished out my medicine. And guys, I tell you what, I am just amazed that people are dying because doctors won't prescribe them something. My wife called her actual doctor, her physician, he prescribed her cough syrup. Yeah. You know what she's not doing? She's not going to that doctor no more because she can kiss our ass. She went to the hospital because he prescribed her cough syrup. And I went to a different doctor and he prescribed me the stuff to get it right. And what really baffles me is I messed up on taking the medicine. I took it wrong. I took 3 tablets the day 1 and not all 8. And the fever was still gone the next day. But anyways, guys, I've got a lot that's transpired over that time. That was the first week of October, and now it is the second week in January. January 10th, I finally went back to work, and I'm back out here rolling to make a little bit of bill money and make some videos for you guys. So it's been a long 3 months. Just say I took 2 months off because the whole month of October due to COVID was kind of wrecked. The whole month, kind of shot. So anyway, we're past that. That's my experience with COVID. And like I said, even knowing what I know now, and even though my whole family caught COVID and the wife spent time in the hospital, that's a $15,000 hospital visit, just to let you know, for 5 days. $15,000. And they didn't ventilate her or nothing like that. Just the room and the medicine they gave her, $15,000, 5 days. In case you're wondering. But even all that, we're still not getting no vaccine. So food for thought. Anyways, guys, ivermectin, dexamethasone saved the day. And yeah, so we're gonna get on down the road. I'm coming out of Florida. I got a little ways to go to get parked, and when I get parked, yeah, we're still recording. Edit this video, chop it up, and I'll see you in that next video, guys. If you liked what I said, give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, and maybe I'll get back to putting out videos on the regular All Things Trucking. See you, bye.